What's the most kind/beautiful thing you've overheard about yourself by accident? Once at college I was hanging out with a couple of friends in an art class, and right after I left I heard one turn to the other and say he is such a nice guy, and the other girl replied with an enthusiastic I know. He really is. People complimenting you behind your back is, in my opinion, the best form of compliment. I'm a longtime drummer, been playing in bands for over 20 years, recently just joined a new band, and after our first gig together, I overheard the singer talking with someone about the set and sound of the new Linoop. The singer was saying that I'm a born drummer. This guy was totally meant to play drums. I'm so stoked he's in my band. Probably the coolest thing I accidentally overheard about myself. Several weeks ago I overheard the technician of the neighboring lab telling some fellow grad students she knows so much. I'm astonished. I'm still hyped up about it. I teach middle school, and I try to intentionally say something positive about a student when he/she thinks I don't know they're nearby. The change in a kid's whole attitude is remarkable. Even kids who seem pretty self-confident get a boost, but the kids who are struggling, it really makes a huge difference. My wife's family said I was a rock in their family. At a party I overheard my so bragging to the others about my pasta and my cooking in general, like they should be jealous he gets to eat my food regularly. It made me happy. I know he likes my cooking, but him telling others about it when I'm not in the room was a big confidence boost. Edit r/award speech edits. I was visiting my old workplace after leaving a couple years prior. As I was walking away from an old employee, I overheard a new person ask who I was. She replied, "That's Gwami. He is the reason I was able to become a manager. I'm a now manager by trade." That almost made me cry on the spot. Used to work in a call center up in Manchester. I have a very posh London voice which sticks out quite a lot up north. After a sale I take off my headset and hear one girl to another, "I really love his voice." Apostrophe. Made me smile. When I taught second grade I caught girls passing a note in my class. I took the note from them and read it. "Mrs. Pretty. Her hair is pretty, her whole body is pretty." I was like, please don't pass any more notes in class, but thank you, and I'm keeping this forever. Edit. I remembered it a little differently than the real thing, which is here, and is very lengthy, but I just cut it for the most relevant part. imgur.com/gallery/za4ioj. I worked really hard on creating an art project for my first grade class. I heard on students say to the other, "This is the best project we've had all year." My dad doesn't really compliment people. He's the quiet type that hides behind jokes and sarcasm. However, I once heard him talk to an old friend of his at a Christmas party, saying, "That's my kid right there. Pure rock and roll, just like his old man. Never gives up, just keeps steaming on like a freight train." I tell ya, some kids just have that fire, you know? I've always hated my voice. One time I heard a coworker tell my boss, "I love bastard's voice. He should work in radio." That felt pretty good. Had a girl compliment my looks to her friends in my second language. She never figured out I could understand what she was saying. I wouldn't even consider myself attractive, so it was nice, I guess. My shitty, grumpy old fart of an ex-boss had to let me go because they ran out of orders. Then my last day I overheard a colleague talking to him, saying, "You shouldn't let me go. He's a good worker." To which my boss replied, "I really don't want to let him go. I'm really fond of him. But I have no choice. He used to look so angry all the time and yelled at me one time, so I figured he didn't like me." Although he was a grumpy old sod, this warmed my heart. Was at a party with classmates. Decided to stay the night and overheard some girls talking about me being handsome while they thought I was asleep. I wasn't. I was joking around with some acquaintances at a party and somebody got me with a really funny joke. I started giggling like a madman, and I heard a girl on the other end of the room turn to my sister and say, "I just love his laugh. It's so happy," and she responded, "I know." That still makes me smile when I remember. I was hospitalized for 6 months after a suicide attempt as a teenager. I had to go to school in the hospital. I love languages, and every week a French teacher would come in and give me French lessons. She gave me an essay to write for homework, and I wrote about my illness. I overheard her telling my nurse that it was a joy to correct my work. It might not seem like much, but to a 17-year-old girl who felt totally worthless, it meant the whole world. I wish I could tell that teacher that I'm almost finished my degree in modern languages now. Went through a bad breakup a few years ago. First boyfriend I had brought home to my family, and it turned out he has been cheating on me the whole time. I was so embarrassed, not that I felt unworthy, but that my taste was that bad, I guess. I basically told my mom, and she took over the line of communication, so that I didn't have to tell everybody. My family was furious. My mother told me much later that one of my older cousins was ready to drive down and torch his house, because when she thought of me, she was reminded of the passage from Pride and Prejudice about an accomplished woman, and that he just couldn't do that to me. No one gives a shit about that guy now, but the fact that she thinks him worth such a high compliment still gets me teary. I was at a party at the residence of the dude I'm now married to. His room was the room with the iPad, and the residents carefully guarded it and set me with the task of keeping the music going, a task I took seriously. I was in there planning the next playlist when I heard him through the window say, "I'm pretty sure she's a lot smarter than me and way out of my league." The school counselor telling a bitchy teacher that I'm sweet and have a big heart. She then said, "BTW's really funny too. Stop hating and you'll see why everyone loves her." I had tears in my eyes because she was one of the few who always believed in me, my persona and intentions. Some semi-famous rappers I'm friends with called me drunk to wish me happy birthday. They didn't hang up properly, and I heard the one say to the other, "Quentin's a really fucking good guy, man. Really fucking good guy." Shit meant a lot to me because most people just see me, 242 pounds with home job tattoos, and assume I eat people. Edit. Thanks for the karma. That's a lot for me. Happy holidays. Edit. Thanks for the silver. My old band was due to play in a bar. I was stood ordering a drink and I overheard two people discussing the band. Apparently they'd heard the guitarist, me, was amazing. I was dozing off in a train cabin on the way back from a class trip, and before this trip, these guys weren't really my friends. I heard one of them say, "Man, she's not bitchy at all. She goes out of her way to care for people," and the other one said something along the lines of, "I'm so glad we became good friends during this trip. I fell asleep feeling very warm and loved haha." Wow guys, this was a really good post idea, but don't tell you/L_patronus. I recently had a transfer at work, and on my last day I overheard my old boss speaking to my new boss. He was telling her that I had a great personality, I worked hard, and that I had great instincts. As a nurse, it really helped to put away some of my self-doubt. At the end he told her I was one of the people he felt the hospital would miss the most. Feels good to leave your position on such a good note. I don't have a lot of coworkers, about 13 altogether, and I only work directly with 4 to 5. But when I was in the break room I heard a few of them talking about a coworker they don't like, saying she's rude to everyone. And one of them said she's pretty nice too, whatever my name is. And the other said, "Well, everyone likes whatever my name is, pretty hard not to." It was hard to walk back in there and not be like, "Love you too, thanks guys." Was home from college and my parents thought I was asleep. Heard them complimenting each other on how they did a good job raising me. Was on a conference call with one of our clients and they didn't know I was on it, or hadn't heard I was there as I was just taking notes, and they said, "It's a shame Lantus Solister isn't on this call as I'd like him to know that he's positively changed the working life of many people and his work was much appreciated." I had to walk away and cry as it was my last day. My friend and colleague talking to another college. I'm acquaintances with my friend's mum through a hobby we both do. Friend says my mum loves Kiridax, she talks about her all the time. Made my day because the lady is so nice. Saw a text to a girl I had just started dating from her friend, "He's a keeper," referring to me.